Once again. In a world where there's infinite possibilities, why do we limit ourselves to old beliefs that would keep us small and unhappy? Yep, I said it, unhappy. How many of us walk around 24/7 happy? Now, you might be thinking, like I did for many years, that life doesn't promise happiness, that there's sadness, disappointment, painful situations sometimes. What if happiness and difficulties or challenges were not opposites? What if we could experience happiness in the midst of whatever is going on? It may mean that we change our thoughts about what it means to be happy. Happy is defined as being enjoyable or in an enjoyable or satisfied state of being. Well, I think that's pretty limited, because to me that sounds like everything needs to be going my way in order for me to be happy. And in the scheme of things, how often is everything going your way? There are no relationship, financial, social, spiritual, emotional, physical issues at all. Happiness from this perspective remains elusive. Sometimes that may be, we think, something that maybe we experience in flashes or someday. If we look at it from another perspective, happiness is a state of consciousness that arises out of a spiritual principle of hope and zeal. So I have a little story for you, and it's not a new story. It's a story that I've heard told in different ways at different times. And so this is the way I'm choosing to tell it today. So there's a monastery with a bunch of monks, and it is thriving. They have this great garden, and the monks are happy, and they do their chanting and their prayers together, and the neighboring village comes to the monastery often. The people come so that they can buy produce from the monastery, and also just to be in that loving energy that emanates from this monastery. And nobody can really put their finger on it, but things just start to go downhill. The monks begin to not garden as much, and the buildings start looking a little worn and needing a little care, and the monks, they don't treat each other very well sometimes. They start to quibble. And the abbot is racking his mind. He's really trying to figure out. And he's tried all sorts of programs, the latest, greatest programs that have come out. He's tried all the programs to inspire the monks to get back on track, to enliven and thrive their ministry. And nothing works. So the abbot decides to go visit the wise woman on the mountain. And so he goes and he visits the wise woman, and he tells the wise woman all that is going on. And she invites to sit down and just enter into a time of silence together. And so they meditate together. And after a while, they come out of meditation, and the abbot is waiting. He's just waiting because he knows that the wise woman has the answer. She has the answer for them. And she looks at him and she says, "I got nothing. I don't have the answer for you. I have no great wisdom for you in this situation. But I did discover one thing." And he says, "What?" And she says, "One of you is the Christ. One of you is the incarnated Christ." And the abbot thinks about that. And it kind of takes his breath away. He's, wow, one of us is the Christ. And so he goes back to the monastery and he calls all the monks together and he tells them what he has discovered. That the wise woman tells me that one of us is the Christ. Now they begin to look around the room at each other and you can just imagine saying, well, it's not him. And it's, oh no, definitely not him. But then the thought appears, maybe it is. What if it is that person? And so they began to treat each other with respect and kindness. Because what if that person was the Christ? And then they took it a little deeper and it dawned on them that, what if it's me? What if I'm the Christ? And they began to treat each other as if they were the Christ, being present with their brothers. And they began to garden again, and they fixed up the buildings, and they worked together, and they sang together, and they prayed together. And the energy reignited in the ministry. And the people from the community began to come again because of that love that was there. When I hear this story, one of the things that I really hear is I hear the spiritual principle, the spiritual power of hope. That there was a hope that was ignited within them. In 1 Corinthians 13:13, it says, and now faith, hope, and love abide, these three. Faith, hope, and love abide. For something to abide means that it is an intrinsic quality within us. So it is not an emotion that comes when things are going our way. And it's not a wishing upon a star. Oh, I hope that for my birthday I get, or I hope for Christmas I get. Spiritual hope is a quality that is within us that is a driving force for our good. Hope is not based on outer circumstances, and it is not wishing for something to be different than it is in the moment. It is a choice we make to allow divine love to awaken faith in the good. In a state of hope, we open our mind and heart to new ideas, new possibilities. We, in essence, turn our eyes away from thinking the same old thoughts that give us the same old circumstances and turn toward God, toward the power of hope. Christopher Reeves said, once you choose hope, anything is possible. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not saying that we ignore important circumstances or events in this world because thinking about them doesn't make us happy. I'm also not saying that we throw away important relationships in this life because of our differences. I am saying that in the midst of these circumstances, we open our hearts and mind to the power of hope, which opens us to a creative realm within us that is the substance from which unlimited possibilities arise. It was Barbara Kingsolver in her book, Animal Dreams, who said, the very least you can do in your life is figure out what you hope for. And the most you can do is live inside that hope, not admire it from a distance, but live right under its roof. This is a very powerful statement. because it invites us to live as if what we hope for is already here. It's not far away in some distant universe that may or may not come true. What we hope for, the possibilities are right now. As we step into the possibilities and live from that awareness, we begin to live from within, right under the roof of that which we hope for. Do you hope for more kindness in your life? Live as if there is kindness emanating from you and all around you. Do you hope for more loving relationships? Live as if everything you meet is a loving relationship, that everyone is in a loving relationship with you. Live under the roof of that which you hope for with zeal and enthusiasm. And so I want to pause here for just a moment. And I want to invite us to take a moment and take a few breaths and go within. And you may want to close your eyes. We're just going to take a few breaths and we're going to go within and we're going to ask the question of our heart. What do I hope for? What is it that I hope for that I would love to live under its roof and have it emanate from me? What is it that I hope for? If something pops into your mind, I invite you not to discount it and don't judge it. Don't assess it. Just be with it for a moment. And if nothing comes to your mind, just know that it will. Maybe when you're doing the dishes or taking a walk. But just ask the question, what do I hope for? What is the hope out of which I want to live? And so I invite you just to take a breath and bring your awareness back to this space. And you may just want to hold that hope, that word, or that quality. Charles Fillmore was in his 90s when he said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. I spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me with zeal and enthusiasm in his 90s. The power of zeal within us is the power that moves us into action toward fulfilling that which we hope for. Let's take a moment and look at the spiritual power of zeal. Now, the power of zeal is the energy generated toward the fulfillment of a thought. There are times that this energy can be a large burst that comes through quickly and dissipates. And we've all had that experience where we think, I've got it. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write the next greatest novel. It's going to be on the New York Times bestsellers list. I know what the title is. I know what the chapters are. I know what it's going to say. I've got it. And you're telling your friends all about it. This is what I'm going to do. I've got it. This is, and you're so excited and you've got that zeal and it's just like moving through you like a tornado. But that's just it. It moves through just like a tornado. And then it's gone. Spiritual zeal is it sustains our hope, our faith, and our love. So spiritual zeal is a power that is that impulse that moves us forward, but doesn't blow us over. It is a power that is consistent. And no matter what challenges we face, this underlying power keeps us living in our hope. It is what helps us to live in our hope, live under the roof of our hope. Now, there's another way to look at zeal, and it can be, Confucius said, the man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. So that is the power of zeal. The power of zeal is having the consistency of moving away the small stones. It gives us that persistence to continue, even when things might not look the way we would like them to look. When we live from the creativity of zeal by carrying away the small stones of doubt, fear, resistance, we live from everlasting hope. And we open our awareness to unlimited possibilities to create that which would bring true happiness. The Dalai Lama says, happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. If you think you are too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Living in everlasting hope and creative zeal allows us to let go of the misunderstanding that we are too small to make a difference by ourselves. The truth is, you are more powerful than you know. We each make a difference in this life, and we are responsible for what we create. What would you like to create in your life? What do you hope for? And so, again, I'm going to invite us to just close our eyes and take a few breaths. Because I'm going to invite us to tap into that power of zeal. That power of zeal that moves us forward. That power of zeal that empowers us to make choices that sustain our hope. To make choices that make a difference, not just for us, but for everyone in the world. So we breathe into this power of zeal. Enthusiasm. And we feel that emotion begin to rise within us. And it doesn't overpower us. Just awakens within us a knowing that we choose hope. Everlasting hope, creative zeal, working together in tandem, hand in hand, awakening us to new possibilities, new ways of seeing each other, being with each other, new ways of living this life. And so we just breathe into this heart space. And we take a moment and we say yes. We say yes to the universe. Yes, I am willing. Yes, I am able. Yes, I will. So I invite you just to take a couple of moments and breathe. And allow your awareness to come back to being present here in this moment. And I want to leave you with one thought. It's a quote from Walt Disney, and it says, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible."